Good morning. I'm going to give a few remarks and then I will take your questions. From the beginning, Minister Blair and RCMP Commissioner Lucki misled Canadians and they lied to a parliamentary committee. The newly released recording of RCMP Commissioner Lucki confirms that the Minister's office requested that the RCMP release sensitive information about the ongoing investigation into the worst mass killing in our history, and confirmation was given to the Minister that this would occur. By requesting this information be released to further the Liberal political agenda, the Minister pressured the Commissioner and politically interfered in the RCMP investigation. This comes after the Minister and RCMP Commissioner both tried to cover up this scandal and prevent Canadians from getting to the truth about the Liberal government's political pressuring of the RCMP to support the government's political agenda. The Minister lied when he said he was not aware the Commissioner would release the sensitive information, and he lied when he also said he never asked the Commissioner to reveal that information. Both are now proven false based on the audio recording of the Commissioner released yesterday. Worse yet, the Minister was advised that releasing this information would jeopardize the investigation, and he asked that it be done anyway. He put the government's political agenda above Canadians, and then he lied to us in committee about it, and that is unforgivable. The Minister and the Commissioner lied and violated the independence of the RCMP and jeopardized the investigation into the worst mass killing in Canadian history. We do not have confidence in this Minister to hold any position in this government, and he should resign immediately along with the RCMP Commissioner. I'll take your questions. No questions?
I'll ask a question, if you wouldn't mind, on actually the Emergencies Act inquiry. And I'd like to know what you make of it so far, what you've heard, and whether anything changes your opinion at this point about the use of the Emergencies Act.
I think the Liberal government's response during the Emergencies Act invocation is misleading. They said a number of misleading things. We know they said that the police asked for the invocation of the Act. We know that that was not the case. We'd like to know what else they were misleading the public about. I think, again, what we're talking about today as well is, again, more lies. So there seems to be a bit of a pattern when it is convenient and the Liberals are looking to put forward their political agenda, they lie to Canadians. So when we heard the audio recording yesterday regarding the RCMP scandal, what was made very clear by Brenda Lucki in the audio recording was that she said the Minister's office requested that this be done. Now, when we were in committee, I point blank asked the Minister, was he, number one, aware that the Commissioner would be trying to share this information publicly. He said he didn't even know it was going to happen. He also elaborated to say he did not ask her to do that either. But based on the audio recording, she said very clearly the Minister's office requested that she do that, and then she confirmed to the Minister that she would. So we have a situation here where the Minister is directing the RCMP to interfere in an investigation that they were advised doing so would jeopardize that investigation. So very clearly that is political pressure that they were putting on the Commissioner to interfere in the investigation. We believe that is quite serious. It's not every day that we ask for a Minister to resign, but given that he lied point blank at committee and pressured the RCMP Commissioner of Canada to politically interfere in the investigation of the worst mass killing in Canadian history. On those two fronts, we believe he should resign today. Yes.
We're seeing several press conferences of cabinet ministers across the country right now on the handgun freeze, or handgun ban, however you want to phrase it. Just given how Liberals are re-announcing this and the strategy they're using today, do you see them as trying to create a wedge issue, further wedge issue on firearms here?
I think you have to look no further than the last election to see that the Liberals clearly use firearms as political wedge to divide Canadians on this issue. Now, Conservatives are very concerned about the rise of gun violence in Canada. We also believe in very strict gun laws in Canada. What we won't be doing is dividing Canadians and politicizing firearms. We've been clear all along that we believe the billions and billions of dollars of resources they are spending on their gun control policies, which will fail to address gun violence, we would be spending those billions of dollars on bolstering our border security to stop gun smuggling. We would be providing more resources to police to fight gang violence and criminal elements in our urban cities. And we would also be supporting grassroots organizations that support at-risk youth from joining gangs and life of crime. That's where we believe the priorities should be. That's also what we're hearing at committee would be most effective effective to direct resources if we really do want to commit to stopping gun violence, which we do.
What do you think about the fact that the Liberals are like taking this step forward as the MP still discussing Bill C-21?
Well, I think it shows that, they're not serious about consulting experts across the country. We are in the midst of an extensive committee study into their current legislation on gun control. And we are hearing from experts across the country that there is clearly a division on what experts believe should be done about firearms. But if you speak to police and those that know crime elements better than anyone else, they agree that the Liberal approach to this will fail. It is a waste of taxpayer resources that should be put towards the three areas that I just outlined. That's where we'd like to see investment. Again, the latest estimates for their gun control agenda that they were politically maneuvering when 22 people died, that's going to cost the taxpayer $5 billion. The amount of good that you could do in areas where it's actually going to make a difference for reducing gun violence is quite significant. And yet they're spending it in a way that will further divide Canadians on this issue, when we should be able to come together and agree that we all want to see gun violence reduced, which we do, but let's focus it on areas that will actually be effective.
Can I get your thoughts on the latest on ArriveCan? The CBSA put out a list to Parliament with 23 companies that worked on ArriveCan. Now at least 2 have said they don't know why they're on the list. They never got that money. They never worked on ArriveCan. Plus the committee, Governor Ops yesterday heard from GC Strategies, the top company. They said they've received millions and they retain a commission of between 15 and 30%, and they are just 2 people that work out of their home. So.
It is shocking how much money was flying out the door during the pandemic. We know that 40% of these hundreds of billions of dollars spent by the Liberals of deficits during the pandemic did not go towards any COVID programs whatsoever. We're now finding out that the $54 million for ArriveCan, that app could have been made in a weekend with less than $1 million. So who got rich in this regard? They're being very cagey about releasing the contract information. So was it a Liberal insider? We don't know. It leads to a lot of speculation. But what we do know is that Canadians grossly overpaid for something. We don't know who it went to, and it didn't work very well either. You'll remember that 10,000 people were told to quarantine. So that app was full of issues from day one, and now we're finding out that it could have been made in a weekend with less than $1 million, but it cost the Canadian taxpayer $54 million, and they won't say who they gave the money to. I think it's very concerning.
Can I just go back to the question of policing and Commissioner Lucki, but
Sure.
also what we're hearing right now from the Commission about, I think it could be best characterized as complete dysfunction in the Ottawa Police Service, the Ontario Police Service, as it related to the lead up to the convoy. Is there a bigger question we now have to ask about the state of policing in this country?
You know, I'm following the inquiry as well, and to me it looks very much that there is a push, or the Liberal government, I think what I'm saying is the Liberal government would be very happy for the fall to be on the City of Ottawa or the Ottawa Police on what happened with the convoy in February. But I think we have to remember why the convoy came to Ottawa. It's not because of something the City of Ottawa did or the City of Ottawa Police did. It was because of the rhetoric and the division caused by the Prime Minister during the pandemic. It was because of the hateful, divisive rhetoric he used during the election only months prior. That's what motivated thousands of people to donate over $10 million in a matter of hours, and for hundreds of truckers to mobilize across the country. So I think we need to remember that when we're looking at the inquiry. Why were they here in the first place? I think that's important.
Just quickly on back to Bill C-21.
Sure.
One of the survivors of the Quebec mosque shooting was saying he wants to see an amendment to the bill to have a legal criminal code definition for what exactly an assault-style weapon is. What are your thoughts on that proposal?
Well, we're looking at a number of amendments. So we are just getting started with the experts that we're bringing forward for C-21. We have a series of 8 meetings of experts, and then we will engage in the amendment process. My expectation is all parties will likely bring forward a multitude of amendments. Each needs to be debated and cross-examined at length. Again, C-21 is a massive change. It is a significant change. It should not be taken lightly. It certainly shouldn't be politicized. And so we're looking very closely at that amendment, and we will likely be bringing forward our own.
But is any initial thoughts on whether or not we should have that criminal code definition for what exactly an assault-style weapon is? Of course, that was one of the big criticisms when the Liberals banned like 1,500 weapons under the Ordering Council, that there was no real legal definition for what all these guns are.
Right. I mean, we're looking at all amendments, and we'll be looking at that one closely. There may be some valid points that would constitute our support of that amendment, but again, we have to look at them all in sum, and there's going to be a number of amendments brought forward by all parties. So again, just to wrap up, This, as you know, we've been pursuing this. We pursued this during the summer at Public Safety and National Security Committee. We had Minister Blair and Commissioner Lucki and a whole host of those involved in this political interference scandal that was, we believe, the Liberal government politically interfered and inappropriately pressured the RCMP Commissioner to share information that would jeopardize the investigation. We've been on this for six months, and it is only today that we have decided that it is clear and significant that Minister Blair lied to the Standing Committee of Public Safety and National Security, and he used the death of 22 Canadians to leverage that for his political agenda, and for those two reasons we believe he should resign today.
So can I just ask a follow-up just on that point? Is there anything else, if you believe he lied to Parliament, is there anything else you can do about that? Like, you can't use parliamentary procedure to point of privilege, point of order, like will you do any of that to sort of try and exact some other consequence should he fail to resign?
I would ask that you stay tuned to today's House proceedings and in the coming days. We have not taken this lightly. It's been 6 months of reflection, and as I said, the audio recording really made it cut and dry that what the minister said in committee was a lie. He lied on two fronts. He lied. He said he didn't know that Commissioner Lucki was going to share that information, and he said he didn't direct her to do so. But based on the audio recording, we know that that is not the case. You cannot just lie point blank to a parliamentary committee and not face the consequences. If he had any integrity, he would resign himself today. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.